Our first speaker for today is Mr. Karl Weaver, who is the head of community growth at Arcrin. So he will talk about DePIN Web3 physical infrastructure. Welcome, Karl. Can we put our hands together to welcome him? Thank you.
Welcome, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to be here to discuss with you DePIN, or Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network. In the next 10 minutes, we'll explore the journey, maybe excitement as well, of decentralized physical infrastructure network and the decentralized protocol principles that take you into the physical infrastructure and also the hardware networks. So I would like to basically, next. So let's explore the realm or the essence of what DePIN is. DePIN is Physical Infrastructure Network, Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network. And actually, 2023 is the year of DePIN. Oh yeah, rock and roll. Okay, so it's very, very important to note that there's a fellow by the name of Sami Kassab, and he is the corporate research officer for Messari, and they did a fantastic report about the DePIN space. It's a report, and it gathered a lot of enthusiasm this past February. And of course, many people in the DePIN project ecosystem, they read it. Venture capitalists read it. And it's really, really interesting what they talk about. And in essence, there's a DePIN sector map. It's got 4 categories now, but I believe that it will grow bigger, okay? And in essence, it's kind of a framework for what the future holds in the DePIN space. Now, I personally interviewed Sami Kassab of Messari. He's a very smart guy, very young guy, but a very smart guy. And, you know, it's my understanding that DePIN networks actually allow the decentralized protocol priorities to morph into the physical infrastructure and hardware networks. So that's really very, very important to note. Another important thing is the era of infrastructure investments requiring massive corporate investment, those days are gone. Why? DePIN has arrived. With DePIN, an end user, somebody anywhere in the world can create a project, and basically it can empower any individual to collaboratively build an infrastructure and return the participants, and in return they receive tokens. It's an incentive model. It's a great way to incentivize end users, not huge corporations like, well, you know who they are. And basically it's also fueling DeFi and this whole play to earn model, which is popular in Web3. Now, please understand, without Web3, there is no DePIN. Without DePIN, there is no Web3. They're kind of like kissing cousins. Next. So, what is the essence of DePIN? What is it? Okay, so it's important. There's the categories right there. You see, you've got a cloud storage network, file storage, like Filecoin, that's one of them, okay? CDNs, content delivery networks, VPNs, everybody knows what a VPN is if you travel, right? Virtual private networks, wireless networks. So you've got revolutionary 5G, IoT, LoRaWAN, that's what my friend over here uses, right? And also Wi-Fi too, we forgot Wi-Fi, that's very important. What about sensor networks? Devices, sensors, what are they doing? They're collecting real-time data, taking that collected real-time data and bringing it on-chain into the virtual world. But what's the key here? Data has value. Data is the new oil, essentially. Let's look at the TAM. 2023, $2.2 billion for DePIN. Hello? Is anybody listening? This is important stuff. By 2028, 3.5. Sorry, that's not billion. I made a mistake. That's a T, trillion dollars. We play in this sector here. So let's look, 44 billion in 2023, expected 140 billion in 2028. So it's very interesting to note these things. It's actually important if you're a VC right now. It's important because it's a brand new world. Next. So what are the benefits of DePIN? What is the real benefit and the real value? Well, I talked a little bit about it, right? That's basically anybody can create a network. That network has very little, let's say, friction, okay? That network can be developed anywhere in the world, depending on the wireless frequencies being used, et cetera, et cetera. But there are very few, 没有出质, huh? There are very few barriers to entry, right? You can build it between 10 and 100 times faster. Excuse me, that's amazing, okay? It's better synced to the local, to the hyperlocal market, so supplies the need in a particular city, state, country for their particular needs in their ecosystem, in their culture, in their community. Very, very important. It can also be far more cost effective. Low capex, low opex. Okay, that's a key point. And then, of course, it can be scaled across jurisdictions. So it's really permissionless, a permissionless way to build a network. Isn't that cool? It's also credibly neutral and collectively owned. So, you know, anybody can own the network. Anybody can own some of these networks. I mean, it's really, really very interesting. It's also supporting frictionless micropayments, which is important for DeFi. Next. What are the trends and challenges for DePIN? Obviously, it's interesting to note that you have the global top 10 cloud companies, $5 trillion, right? You know the usual suspects, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. Two of those guys are in my backyard. $5 trillion. But look at the opportunity for the crypto players. 3 billion only. Wow, that's tremendous growth opportunity. Just remember 30 years ago when those other guys were small. That is kind of like what a DePIN project is right now. It is very interesting to note that. But, you know, and also note the top trends. Mobile first integration, which is very, very critical. Essentially, most of these projects are mobile first, depending on the wireless flavor that you're talking about. Decentralized, they're DApps, decentralized applications. Demand for access and storage. But access and storage of what? Data. Data is the new oil, so it's access and storage of data. Very key point here. And it's also decentralized energy networks. That's helping them, these decentralized energy networks, to become resilient and efficient for energy grids. Very key point. Some of the challenges. Yes, tokenization is a little complex, especially if it's not a KISS principal token scheme. So yes, tokenization can be very complex. It can be a chujer, right? 它能够chujer, right? Extended time frame to build it because it's coming from external sources. It's not all internal. You have lots of external sources. You can call them third parties if you want, helping you to build your network. It takes time. Number 3, well, you have the guys I just mentioned. They are looking at what you're doing, and they're feeling the heat, okay? But the fact of the matter is this is a brand new world when you combine DePIN, of course, with Web3. It's very, very interesting. And of course, there are various trends. Here are the trends, key tailwinds and headwinds. You can research that yourself. Next. This is key, right? It's key to Web3. It's key to DePIN, which is this flywheel. Clockwise, this is flywheel of DePIN. It's very, very important. This is what Sammy actually envisioned, and it makes perfect sense. Almost all of the DePIN project people that I've talked to have this flywheel mechanism in place. It's very, very important. Tokenization and collective initiation. So tokenization enables any individual in the world to basically help to build the network. then you're sharing in the cost of construction. Maybe you're a DevOps, okay? Maybe you're a developer. You're supplying something and you're getting an incentive for building something, and then you get a token in return. If you're a miner, you have a hotspot, you put it in your building or your home, and you're collecting tokens. It's really important to note that. Now, you've also got SIT network attraction and user participation. Trust me, if you have a good ROI in your DePIN project, it will get out. People will know. People want to know your ROI on that DePIN project. It's really, really very interesting. They will attract like glue, like flies, like glue. So the established network infrastructure attracts users who pay to access the network. Demand, supply, loop, and token value, yes. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that movie, Field of Dreams. Great movie. Field of Dreams. He says, if you build it, they will come. You remember that movie? Oh my God, I must be very old. If you build it, they will come. If you think about that when you're building your DePIN projects, if you build it, they will come. Your growing user demand, which leads to increased supply incentives by tokenizing rewards that gain value, creating self-reinforcement. Token rewards, building the network, getting incentivized by the network, and adding more features, and then the protocol model reciprocates itself, and you've got key differentiators and competitive advantages. So my conclusion here is that DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure network, it acts as a catalyst to bridge the physical world with the virtual world, or in this case, decentralized protocol principles with the physical infrastructure and the network hardware. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to give this presentation. Thank you so much.